Mike, we've been talking about the repression of free speech and how it destroys American values. And I mentioned right before the break, I said, wow, if I were a foreign government, this is how I'd break America down. I would stifle the morality, stifle their freedom, and stifle their free speech. Is that possibly happening here?
Well, there have been foreign powers that had precisely that in mind. The Soviets had that in mind. Lenin himself had that in mind, and he had a whole international Communist Party apparatus called the Comintern that set out to do just that. And they set up a school in Germany, which then migrated to Columbia University at the Teachers College to teach the teachers of American kids and college students. And this has been going on for nearly a century. So, yes, you do have foreign powers that have been trying to undermine and subvert our institutions, our morality, our self-image, our national self-image. Machiavelli wrote about this. Some of the Roman philosophers wrote about this. This is nothing new. The Chinese Communist Party is active in doing precisely this kind of thing, and you can see from certain of the politicians and causes that it's been supporting and promoting here in the United States. Those are the types of non-values or unvalues or lack of values that they are trying to push here because they want us to lose our moral fiber, lose our resolve, lose our sense of purpose, and then collapse.
Yeah, well, when we have our speech repressed, you go on Twitter and you tweet something that you believe to be true and you have basis for it. In fact, it probably is true, and then you get canceled from Twitter. That is very demoralizing. It's a way to punish those that are opposing what you're trying to do, and at the same time to set an example so everybody else says, no, I got to be quiet. I mean, it's very Orwellian.
Yeah. And then you can see how the banks have applied this already in the nascent social credit system that's being developed now. Bank of America, I think, has been doing it. Others have been doing it, taking away some of the GoFundMe type sites have been doing it to take your political views and to weaponize them against you and then deny you services, even though they're liable for providing everybody services equally. So it's starting to happen. The prosecutors aren't prosecuting it. Courts don't seem too interested. So we're seeing it happen little bit by little bit. And it's that gradualism that's dangerous because people sort of brush it off and say it can't happen to them.
Yeah, it's the frog in the kettle, and it's just getting hotter and hotter. But this is economic warfare. I mean, when we first talked about economic warfare more than a decade ago, it was in the context of what is Russia doing, or what are the jihadis in the Muslim Brotherhood, or what are the Chinese doing in economic warfare. This is kind of an internal economic warfare when your bank turns on you because the FBI has told them to, or something like that.
Right. Or just the sort of the critical theory that's been promoted in universities. The graduates carry that to the banks they work for and the law firms they work for and the prosecutors' offices or the universities they work for. So this is all society being weaponized against us through the educational system.
Yeah, and it shows up economically. If you don't get the COVID shot, you lose your job. If you don't comply here, you lose your bank account. PayPal, if you have hate speech somewhere on the internet and they find it, they fine you $2,500. I think they backed off of that, but they left it in their terms of service or something. It is nuts, and it is individual economic warfare, our system working against us. So what do we do about it?
Well, there's a neat thing that's happening now, and it's not like me to be optimistic, but I really am, and that is the new House leadership. You get the Judiciary Committee chaired by Jim Jordan, and you have the weaponization of the Federal Government Committee. They're calling it the WTF Government Committee. And they're going to be empowered like the left had empowered Frank Church in the 1970s to go after this wrongdoing, and not just abuses in government, but the weaponization of the central government against the American people. It's going to have broad-ranging powers. So what we need to do, what you and all of your viewers, all of us need to do, is to give our lawmakers support when they're doing the right thing. Don't blast them if they're not quite there yet, but encourage them, but encourage them from a positive perspective, and always ask more of them. They need that type of reinforcement because there are a lot more powerful economic forces that are going to be demanding that they do less. So they need our positive reinforcement.